Ripped into right. Back is Beltran at the wall. It is caught. A run scores as Beltran took a grand slam away. What a catch by Carlos Beltran in right at mid-90s. Ortiz gets under it to right. Will it carry? At the wall, it's gone. 7-0. Red Sox lead in game one.
That's the hypocrisy with the Red Sox.
Already we're arguing. Now the Sox, obviously, was a big win last night. One up and over the Cards in the World Series. In America yawns. Now, maybe not us at the table here, but we're talking about some of the numbers. And I'm telling you, game 2 tonight, you got a great pitching matchup if you care about this. Could be, I think it will be eclipsed here when we look at the ratings tomorrow by a Thursday night football game, a game that features one team with 0 wins and another team not exactly planning to buy the Super Bowl tickets. Okay.
Eclipsed, it won't even be close.
And what does that say?
Nobody cares about baseball anymore. I told you a long time ago.
It's become a regional thing, like if your team's there or not.
Exactly, and there are really maybe, listen, St. Louis is the best baseball town in America. Outside of that, Boston maybe, New York maybe, and it ends there. And even if your team's not in New York, we're going to be watching football tonight. Right, Kevin?
Well, let me ask you, growing up 20, 30 years ago, would you have watched the World Series if your team wasn't in it?
Absolutely, because we grew up Saturday baseball. We all got in front of NBC to watch Saturday baseball. And now it's so diluted, the games go on forever, we don't have time for it, and it's just not enjoyable anymore.
Who's playing the football game tonight?
Oh, I think it's the Panthers and the Buccaneers or something.
I think it's Minnesota and the Buccaneers.
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
but it doesn't matter. They're
same
still
thing,
outrated.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So, and on the NFL Network, they're still outrated. you were involved in that great project with Ken Burns. Can you trace when it jumped the shark? When all of a sudden football became America's game and the American pastime took a back seat?
Oh, sure. Really, the 60s, was when pro football took off. And college football was always tremendously popular.
Sure.
But that's really when it starts to eclipse baseball. And it's, baseball, too slow, too expensive now. Originally in the 19th century, people were writing about how, Walt Whitman's writing about how baseball is America's game because it's so fast. It's got this, and it was a lot faster. It moved.
Would you say the average nine-inning game was under 230 as recently as when?
Yeah. Oh, recently is in the 70s. I mean, and the prices. Talk about the bad old days. One of the good things in the bad old days was you could go to Yankee Stadium, buy a ticket day of the game for $250. You sat up high, but you could go behind home plate. Yep. Amazing seat.
So you might have gotten mugged. You got to see a good game. You didn't have to go in your pocket.
I grew up across the street.
Moved down to the good seats too. You can't do that today anymore. They've added to the in-between innings for every game so that they can get more commercials in on whatever the regional broadcast network is. And for the World Series, it's like 4 minutes in between innings. They really need to speed this thing up. But look, football's once a week if you're following your team. Baseball's every day. It can tend to, it can tend to be a little overwhelming in terms of how much there is to it. But, when your team is involved, if the Yankees were involved in this World Series, you'd be hanging on every pitch.
You know what, Andrew? I used to be able to. I was thinking about this when I knew we were going to talk to Kevin. I used to be able, and I know you did. You could not only name the starting 9 for the Orioles and remember it now.
Still 25.
I can't.
25.
I could tell you the 1976 through the whatever for the Yankee lineups, but I couldn't even tell you. And I've watched every game. Who the 95 starting lineup? Maybe it's because of youth. We love it, but I will tell you. I know you did a lot. You were the author of Becoming Mr. October, which is a biography of Reggie Jackson, which could take a whole show up in itself. I was there when he hit the 3 homes.
Yes,
I could tell you the starting lineup of the Dodgers that day, and I would struggle now with the starting 9 of the team. Why is that?
Well, in part, guys move around maybe a little more than they used to because of free agency. Well, I mean, because they used to get traded a lot too. We forget that. It's just the great teams we remember. But in part, because of free agency. In part, there's more of a separation between players and fans because the money is so out of hand. I mean, God bless. This is, better they get the money than the guys who own the team. They're the people I come to see.
Were they bigger characters back then, or is that just the halcyon?
Sure. I mean, you read about somebody like Babe Ruth who used to come onto the field, and they kids would run and jump in his arms,
No, but you were in the print game
sort of
covering the 70 Yankees,
Oh,
in the late 70s. I mean, they'd be competing stories to fight for the back page. I mean, it got old, with Billy and Steinbrenner and obviously Reggie and whatever else was going on, but it was more fun.
Yeah, they were a lot of fun, those Yankees. And reading about, when I'm talking to Reggie Jackson for this book, he's talking about how that day when he hit the 3 home runs, and he was in such a groove, and he said he's in batting practice, and he hits 50 balls, and he said like 35 of them must have gone to the same little area in the stands.
And we're watching now.
He was
that
just
was the second one.
and you can see it.
We're going to see the majestic last one. Was it off of Bert Hooton?
Last one was off Charlie Huff.
Charlie Huff. There it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bert Hooton, Elias Sosa, and Charlie
There you
Huff.
go. And that went into the black.
And including the game before, when he had a home run, four home runs, 4 consecutive swings of the bat. I mean, who does that?
Baseball, the problem with baseball now is they don't promote individuals in the sport anymore. And when you did a poll, came out recently, the face of baseball, 3% answered Babe Ruth. He was born in the 1800s.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be like, if you did an NFL poll, 3% said Sid Luckman.
Right.
I mean, and high in that was Alex Rodriguez.
Yeah.
And all the stuff he's been through. They don't promote their individuals very well. And I think that going to the next generation, they need to shorten the game for people like myself, who the DH has destroyed baseball for me. And I'm an American League guy, but it's destroyed the game.
I
mean,
agree.
people,
I agree.
yeah.
It's not, and I started as
destroyed
an American League fan. It's not just because of the extra hitter. It's because it changes the way you handle your pitchers. Right. You don't have to bring in a lesser pitcher because the circumstances of the game, because you're behind in the game. You can actually let your pitcher go until you feel it's advantageous. It's separated from the batting lineup. In the National League, there's more manipulation. It forces good pitchers out of the game earlier, throws more chaos.
Baseball, I mean, I'll watch every Sunday, and I have a reason to this year with the Jets, but my first love, like I think most of this table, is baseball, but they have an opportunity. I'm just telling you, as a parent with 3 kids, and one's doing the flag football in the league, I don't think I want to play in tackle football with all the concussion concerns, and I'm not alone, okay? So they have a chance to capture it. Is it just the speed they have to do?
Most people they don't play football. They watch it, and they do these drafts so that that's the way that they keep engaged.
And you know what the other thing that I really found about baseball that at least turned me off a little bit at the end is when the Yankees have a $225 million payroll, and they're playing the Kansas City Royals, who have a $65 million payroll. I expect to win. And so I can't really get jacked up when we sweep a series from the Kansas City Royals. Whereas football, that is
changed, though.
It's across the
board,
board,
with the profit
uniform
sharing and everything else, and the luxury tax. I think that's changed.
Well,
we'll
see if it does. I mean, we'll see if if the
look
Yankees
at Pittsburgh this year. Look at Cincinnati.
But I still think that if you spend $225, you should win a lot more than I mean, they've done a very good job in New York lately.
I think it separates the players too from the fans. I mean, the fans used to have days for the players where they would give them things.
Right.
Players are very grateful.
Having
they make
a World
money.
Series game.
Yeah.
No. My kids can't watch it even if they wanted to. First pitch isn't until like 8:15 at night. Why don't they have one flipping day game?
Yeah, at least put a couple of them. Put the weekend ones on the day.
What did you do on the Yankee Red Sox, Richard?
You know why?
No,
money.
But my only thing is the NFL will make money hand over fist on a 1 or 4 o'clock game on a Sunday. You're telling me they can't rate a game at 4:30 on a Sunday?
Yankees
or
Red
Saturday?
Sox 78. Where were you? I took off from school that day.
Oh yeah.
Could you imagine today that game being at 3 o'clock?
The one game playoff with the Sox? I remember the teacher, like we're all like looking at it, she's like, all right, get out of here.
Right.
We ran home to watch.
I took off that day.
As my friend at the control room with the Red Sox, Bucky freaking Dent, and then he became Aaron freaking
Let's
Boone.
go Cardinals tonight.
Yes, exactly.
Let's go
I don't know
Cardinals.
if I'm watching.
I'm not.
And
Football.
I hope for Beltran too. I hope his first World Series is out after one at
You know what I
bat.
hope for Beltran? I hope
He's
wearing a
playing
Yankee
tonight.
uniform next year.
Yeah.
Good.
All right.
Really?
Yes, really.
You didn't
Yes.
hear about the $220
Yes.
million
I don't. I want him to go in playoffs next year. All right. When we come back after the break here, it's going to be a year next year since the Sandy storm devastated the area, and for many communities, they're only now getting back on their feet. We'll be right back after this.